Namaste, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Arthurian series. And today the topic is the Lover's card. And I've been reading these guidebooks and staring at these pictures and really giving a lot of thought to these cards. This is a challenging tarot card to interpret. It's so easy to go to relationship and lover, and yes, this is an affirmation that this relationship is going to work, that I will meet the person of my dreams. And yet there is always something more here. There's such a yin yang kind of energy about the reflection of inner fire and water, as well as what is being reflected in relationship. And as I read through these tales, these legends, I'm thinking about the word vulnerability, that the masculine figures in these stories sacrifice something for love. There is something deep within them that moves them to make great, grand gestures to win love, to prove love, to find love. It feels like this is not something that comes easily. It is something that we must work very hard for to find this level of love and balance in our lives. And in the central card, which is the card from Legend, the Arthurian Tarot, we are looking at Gareth and Leonez. And please pardon my pronunciation of names as always. Gareth and Leonez walk alone in the woods, far from the curious eyes and gossip of the court. They walk together, but do not cling to one another. Theirs is a secure love of equal partners who choose each other's company of their own free will. A warm breeze flows through the leaves of the trees, reflecting the gentle nature of the love and affection Gareth and Leonez have for one another. The peacock butterflies symbolize the beauty and ecstasy of this dusty, dream-like state. Those to me seem like very key words here. The sword is a reminder that there are dangers amidst this beauty. Though love can exalt, when lost, it can devastate. This was a truth familiar to Arthurian lovers. Despite the veneer of romance, they did not live fairy tale lives. Theirs was a dangerous and violent age. In the context of this card, the sword symbolizes the hazards of collapsing into relationship and the need to retain one's sense of self and independence. And in that way, that feels a lot like the kind of direction that I have been going in other decks, that the relationship is there to help you become stronger. To do otherwise would be unhealthy for both partners and drain the strength needed to survive the twists of fate in worldly life. The love of Gareth and Leonez was a true love, rare and unfailing. The goldenrod blooms in the foreground symbolize the natural union. Goldenrod equals solidago, to join. And before I read the legend from Anna Marie Ferguson's book, I just want to mention that in Claire Duval's deck, the lovers are Lancelot and Guinevere. And in the Matthews deck, the lovers are Geraint and Enid. And I want to read you a little bit from this book as well today. Gareth of Orkney was the younger brother of Gawain, Agravain, and Gaheris. When he first came to Camelot, he kept his identity secret, wishing to prove himself by his own deeds rather than relying on his relationship to the famous Gawain. During this time, he was known only as Beaumain, a nickname given to him by Kay, meaning fair hands. As Beaumain, he patiently worked in the kitchens, awaiting an opportunity to prove himself. This he eventually did by rescuing the Lady Lyonnaise, who for 2 years had been hostage of the knight Ironside. While witnessing the ensuing battle, Lyonnaise fell deeply in love with her young valiant champion, and he with her, giving him the strength to prevail. And this is great. There's all kinds of connecting cards to the lovers, so I will mention that when I get there. The two later met amid the celebrations held at the castle of Lyonnaise's brother Gringamore. There was great cheer, dancing, games, fine wine, and meats. But Gareth was so fervored by his love that he could not bring himself to eat. He watched every move Lyonnaise made, his love deepening by the moment. Seeing how Gareth burned in his love, Gringamore sought to ease his agony, and knowing that his sister's love for Gareth equaled that of her young champion, Gringamore told him so. There was never a happier man than Gareth. With Gringamore's assurance, Gareth then spoke to Lyonnaise, who vowed that her love for him would last all her days. The two made plans to meet later that night, once all the guests had retired. Lyonnaise instructed Gareth to sleep in the hall, and she would join him just before midnight. It became clear to all present that the two were deeply in love. The enchantress, Lynette, sister to Lyonnaise, suspected their lusty intentions, and although she approved of their love, she hoped to delay their union until they were married. That night, Lyonnaise secretly made her way through the castle to join Gareth in his bed. Meanwhile, Lynette conjured up a phantom knight whom she sent to attack Gareth at this delicate moment. The battle was fierce, leaving Lynette's knight decapitated and Gareth exhausted with a badly wounded thigh. Gringamore, awakened by Lyonnaise's screams, rushed to help and joined the two lovers just as Lynette entered the room. The enchantress calmly walked up to her knight, applied an ointment to his neck, placed his head back upon his shoulders, and restored him to life, warning the lovers to cool their hot blood until they were wed. 10 days passed, and despite Gareth's wound, their yearning for one another drove them to plan a second meeting. Lyonnaise had not been in Gareth's bed long when she saw the brilliant light of the phantom knight approaching. With sword at his bedside, Gareth was prepared for the knight's timely interruption, and as their battle escalated, so too did the ghostly light. Its blaze became so bright that Lyonnaise was blind to the struggle. Gareth's wound reopened, and the loss of blood weakened him, but he was eventually triumphant, again beheading the phantom knight. This time, Gareth chopped the head into 100 pieces and threw them out a nearby window. Lynette diligently gathered these, piercing her knight back together and restoring him to duty. Gareth suffered with his wound, preventing any further mischief. But Lynette told the angry young lover that when the time came, she would heal him and restore him to his healthy, lustful self. At long last, the day came when, honor intact, the two were wed, and their ordeal with the phantom chaperone ceased. Another thing that strikes me in all of these cards is the intense beauty of the setting, the connection with nature, and this sense of peace. And I am reminded that this is a number 6, which is indeed it's a perfect number that represents beauty and harmony and connection, union of divine masculine and feminine, and it's kind of a perfect card. And Anna Marie Ferguson does mention the connection to Gemini, and I think it's that association that really throws a wrench in the interpretation if you are working with astrological decans and those sorts of connections. It may also, if you are interested in mythology, take you down the slippery slope or the rabbit hole of the twin mythologies, how this mythology is perhaps connected to couple relationship. And while these cards picture stereotypical heterosexual cisgender relationship, there's something here beneath the story that is about devotion and effort and tenacity in knowing that another will help you to be a better person, among other things. So I'm kind of touched by the links that characters go to in these legends. In the deck on the far right, it's called the White Heart. The lovers depicted here are Geraint and Enid. Their story appears in the Mabinogion as well as Chrétien de Troyes' Eric and Enid. Geraint is a knight of Arthur's court who seeks to avenge an insult done to Guinevere by Idern ap Nudd. He pursues Idern with neither arms nor armor, but is given these by an earl who has been dispossessed by Idern. The only way Geraint can avenge the insult to Guinevere is to fight Idern at the Sparrowhawk contest, a tournament in which a kestrel is awarded to the knight who successfully overcomes all challengers. The contest rules state that each combatant must fight for his lady's honor, and Geraint has no lady. He asks to champion Enid. He beats Idern, wins the Sparrowhawk, and wins Enid as his wife. The story goes on, and I can't help but feel this passion, this fight for love, this fight for the other, knowing that the sacrifice or the danger of the sacrifice or the potential danger is all worth it in the end, and that somehow love will prevail. And so I have to say that in these cards, there's quite a different vibe than in most Waite Smith inspired tarot decks that really has us looking at the choices that we make and the development and harmony of our own divine masculine and feminine. And I suppose we can read that as well too into these cards, but it's the passion, right? The drive for a lover that really speaks loudly here. So I want you to think about your favorite lover's card, the one that you have come to find the most meaning from, and then contemplate these legends and let me know if you find yourself in a place of quandary, or indeed you can use these kinds of stories to enhance and develop how you already work with the energy of this arcanum. Thank you. Thanks for being here. I'll see you soon. Namaste.